Jeffrey Epstein. He's been dead for a while. Former sex trafficker. Remember, he was in prison. Tried to blackmail Bill Gates. Doesn't this sound? It's like you hear about these things in the movies, and like whole movies are based around blackmail, but happening in real life, where Jeffrey Epstein tried to blackmail Bill Gates with his knowledge of an affair that Bill Gates was having with a Russian bridge player. Also sounds like the plot of a movie.
Yeah.
So did he blackmail, or what do you mean he tried to?
Well,
blackmail is threatening it.
My understanding is he did blackmail him, but it was not successful because Bill Gates never paid him. Basically, Jeffrey Epstein was he met the Russian
bridge player.
Yes, player, and paid for this course, was trying to get her to do something, or try to get her to be in this business. And he paid for this course, and then years later was trying to get Bill Gates to pay into a fundraiser and to pay him back for the course. And Bill Gates was like, I'm not getting involved with you. I don't want to. His wife at the time, or former wife at the time, Melinda, was saying he's not a great guy. I don't think that you should do business with him. And so then
Bill Gates talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
And then Jeffrey Epstein was like, oh, okay, well, if you don't, I'm going to tell everyone, I'm going to expose this affair that you had years ago with this Russian bridge player.
Did he write this, or is this just we think he told him this?
That I don't know, but we do have our official attorney on the phone, Lisa Lanier, to break it down for us, because we don't hear about blackmail all that often being successful.
Good morning,
Lisa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey,
good morning. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, the creep factor just keeps on coming with this guy. And he definitely, he was very much like a want to be aristocrat. He wanted to be an American aristocrat. He wanted to be part of the elite. And so what he was actually trying to do was raise money for a charity, but he was trying to use blackmail, right, to coerce Bill Gates to give to the charity, which is kind of crazy. But, think about all the layers to that. But it did seem that the communication was, but, we've talked about this before. In order to be actually guilty of a crime for blackmailing someone, you have to be very clear that, that the threat is being made and that it's for money, and has to be very specific. And I think Epstein was pretty vague about, I think he sort of worded it like, I know about a relationship that could come out, but Bill Gates just told him to pound sand. He didn't care.
Pound sand.
Well, I like that.
I like that term.
I do, and I like the fact that basically when you come on, it's like practice to get it right. So in a way, if like Jeffrey Epstein was just like, yeah, we really need you to donate to my charity, and because there's so many different things I want to do, and if we have the charity successful, I don't have to write the book about the mistresses that everybody has. That type of thing is a roundabout way.
What a pitch for charity.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. And usually you won't see anyone prosecuted for blackmail unless there was kind of like same way with when they try to catch people who are trying to hire a hitman. You have to get it very specific, specific dollar amount, specific threat. And a lot of times they won't actually go after somebody unless there's been an exchange of money to show that they really meant it, so that you're like the blackmail. Yeah, you actually, took the person's money, and then they'll come in and, okay, you were guilty of blackmail, prosecute them. But
Lisa, so I understand this. So was Jeffrey Epstein trying to get Bill Gates to donate to make it look like Jeffrey Epstein's fundraiser or his charity was doing really well, or was he trying to get Bill Gates to donate in Jeffrey Epstein's name to look like he gave the money?
No, I think he was okay with Bill Gates keeping it in his name.
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein had he undertook a couple of projects where he promised to raise X amount of dollars to get his name on buildings and like on campuses and things like that. And so there's actually, when the whole Epstein thing blew up, there were a bunch of buildings that had to run and go change names real quick on campuses, especially art buildings.
Wow.
Yeah, he was really into trying to raise money for the arts.
Got it.
And so he was okay with it. He had committed to raising a certain amount of money. And in some instances, he had actually committed to giving that amount of money. He didn't have the money, but the charity didn't care if somebody else contributed to it, but he had obligations. And And in some of those instances, he couldn't keep those. So he was out, trying to pressure his quote-unquote friends, into helping him out.
Now, Lisa, obviously there's Epstein Island, there's flight logs, there's all these, allegations of all these. I mean, every billionaire you can imagine at least seems like is on one of the flight logs during that time. Are you surprised that nothing has come of this? I
really am, especially when his longtime, companion and one time, was his lover for a while, Ghislaine Maxwell, when she went to prison for him. I mean, because I'm sure she could have leveraged that information to have avoided prison. But she was found guilty and went away at an older age. I mean, it's that's terrible. And when she could have, to me, it's crazy. She could have probably leveraged that, and she, even in death, she remained loyal to him, and she did not roll over on him and spill all these people's information like she could have.
That was a good point, Jared. But has the investigation been closed, or are they still trying to find evidence of other people that may? It was what was it? It was a underage thing.
Underage, sex trafficking.
The island. He had all these underage girls that he would bring to the island, and Ghislaine. That's why she's in prison. She was like the recruiter, and so he would go get a massage. She would go places, find these young girls. And, he would prey on young girls who were like runaways and stuff who, he would bring them in, even though like they'd never given a massage in their life. He would bring them in off the street and be like, give me a massage, and then the next thing you know, he's got his clothes off. And then he ends up, taking them to his little island where they work,
And then they had a bunch of, when you refer to the flight logs, just Jared said the flight log, those the celebrities that went to the island that may have been associated with this traffic, known. But there's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it didn't necessarily mean that they were automatically involved with the girls on the island and the sex trafficking, because he prided himself very much on knowing all the celebrities, knowing all the politicians. He was, that's part of that he was seeking fame, he was seeking notoriety. And, but there's certainly an inference there. And that's what people are wondering, like, all these famous people, when they went to the island, did they partake in the partying with these underage girls?
Yeah. I mean, it just seems, I don't know. It seems like with all the other stuff that is in the news, this seemed like this would be a much bigger story.
It's over?
Even the Ghislaine trial, like, there's like zero coverage of it.
Well, I feel like we knew more.
To me, it's suspicious.
We knew more about Johnny Depp's divorce than we did about this case. It seems
maybe because they're so powerful people, they're somehow
keeping it quiet,
keeping it under wraps.
And maybe even she's not even being loyal to just like, hey,
there's so many other
saw
people.
What happened to Jeffrey Epstein? His suicide, which is BS to me. Cameras were off, the bodyguards, no logs, all that. Like, just so happened, then he dies.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole conspiracy theory that he's still alive, that was faked, and then there's other people that say he is dead, but that he paid somebody to kill him, that he couldn't do it himself, all kinds of crazy.
Or somebody else was going to get exposed, and they paid somebody off to go kill him.
And they can say, Ghislaine, the same thing could happen to you, and so just be quiet.
And if you have not seen, I think it's a 4-part, 3 or 4-part documentary. I believe it's on Netflix, all about this whole the inside and the backstory of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. It is fascinating. It's very disturbing because it features a lot of young underage girls and sexual activities with grown men, but it's, I think, definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
And find out what's going on.
I don't understand the girl. Why was the girl
Ghislaine?
Yeah, why would she do that? How?
Well, it was a very powerful life for her, and she, don't you think, Lisa, kind of in a way, she glorified Jeffrey Epstein and wanted to do whatever it took to make him happy?
Oh, yeah. He dated her for a very short period of time, but he kept her in his life, and she was very much in love with him and wanted to be like his right hand. And she really wanted to have a place at the table with him, because she actually had a lot of power, on his behalf. She wielded a lot of power, but he would always exclude her. Like, at the end of the day, he would, when he was having these important meetings that she had set up and things like that, he would always exclude her, and he just kind of kept her in this little place where she was hovering by his side and doing all his dirty work. And yeah.
And then, not to get too far into this, but my understanding, Ghislaine Maxwell, like, there's a family connection that used to be in kind of almost like a Secret Service type what do they
Her
call it?
father was very powerful.
Yeah.
Her father was a very powerful man, and there was this big suspicious thing surrounding his death. He disappeared off a yacht
Yeah.
that was
Naked.
at sea.
Naked on a boat.
Yes, naked, right?
Wow.
Naked on a boat, right?
Yep.
Right.
What is it? The Mossad? What in Israel is? I'm getting the name wrong. But some of the tactics that they use against people is that they'll get them in sexually compromising situations and then use that to blackmail them, and then they do whatever.
And he was an arms trader, so he was in a very controversial. He was an arms trader, and there's theories that Ghislaine, she was like a daddy's girl and really adored her father. And there's sort of like this theory that she projected that onto Jeffrey Epstein, and when her father passed away, kind of substituted Epstein for that powerful father figure.
Wow.
It's fascinating. She's the best. Thank you, Lisa, so much. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com. She has offices all over the place. I mean, all over the state, all over the region. So